Hello everybody, this is K&OA here for K&OA Photography, and I'm going to be doing another tutorial for you guys today. This time I'm going to be using a shot that I did not use from Artsy Becca Cosplay's Princess Ariel shoot from another anime convention. And we're going to look at how you do manual color grading for an image. You've seen me use some handy presets to achieve a particular look in film, for film emulation, but if you really want to understand how to work with a photograph, you really have to understand the tones and curves panel. So what I want you to do is I want you to open any image, and we're going to use this one for example, and I haven't really done any adjustments really to the light properties of the image. If you look here, if you look at before and after, really all I've done is I've bumped the contrast a little bit by changing how the camera profile is, and I put a little bit of vignetting there, and I did some lens correction, but it already makes a fairly nice difference. You see that in the right side image there's more of a sunbeam effect going on instead of just glow from the upper right corner of the photograph. We have more of an emphasis right on the subject. This right away is actually a better image, and it's a little clearer and it's a little more saturated. So I don't think we have to do too many adjustments in the basic adjustments panel. We can go afterwards and do that. However, what I want to talk about is this. This panel right here is very powerful. Now, I have all sorts of presets in here that I can choose from to emulate certain kinds of film, but if you want to just get a very basic, mellow look, there are things that you can do. You can go for several different kinds of looks, but I will teach you one that is actually very useful in a lot of kinds of different situations as a finishing touch. Now, what you want to do here to get a more mellow, um, some people will call it a vintage look. That's not specific to any one film, though it is similar to Triax, is to take your highlights down. You're gonna take the whites down um if you allow it to eh, if I can just okay, I can select it here. I will take down these highlights a little bit, and then I will take up the blacks. I will lift them. You see it will start to fade the image a little bit. And then we're going to pull down the high mids. And we're going to pull up the low mids. And you can do this in a variety of ways. You can do the opposite of this. You can pull these up. And you can do this. You can kind of pull this here. There you go. You create this S-shaped curve here. And you can kind of pull this a little bit forward. I like it right there. You kind of want to just pick it at quarter marks across the spectrum. And from there, just by making a few, small adjustments inside of the tones panel, you have this very different image. And you can pull this down a little bit to kind of quash it a little more if you want, and I'll show you what that looks like, but it starts to look a little weird if you pull it down too much. So I like to kind of keep it like right there. And you can it's non-destructive, so you can just kind of toggle it on and off to see how you like it. Just add a certain vibe to the image without doing too much to it. Now, if you want, you can fine-tune things in the adjustment panel. However, the other things that you can do is you can go into each particular channel here, and you can start to play with how the colors are expressed in each of these channels. Now, if you want a particular kind of look, you can bring this up into the shadows, and then you can bring it down in the highlights and achieve a split tone effect that way. And that will have a particular look. However, I'm going to get rid of the dot that's there, and I'm going to go into the blue channel. I'm going to kind of bring down what's in the blue in the highlights just a little bit. This is a more effective way to split tone, I think. than using the actual split toning panel. And I will show you what I mean by that. You go into the greens, kind of bump the greens in the middle a little bit. We have a very nice, colorful, slightly desaturated image that has a flatter look to it and compresses the image a little bit, but it also gives it a very subtle, mellow vibe, and that's nice. It's a nice platform to start from for if you're going to be making some other image adjustments. And if you keep toggling it, you see it's very interesting. And you can edit this in different ways. So you can bump the clarity a bit, and you can take the vibrance up, and you can take the saturation down a little. And it starts to become a very dreamlike image. We can play with the basic adjustments here. Kind of get to somewhere where we like. Give us some more shadows. There we go. How do I like that? I like that okay. I mean, and then the rest of it is just a taste. If we want to bring the hair back a little bit and kind of give it some more detail, or I want to just kind of bring it down. I think the saturation is probably good where it is. Bring it up just a tad. Same with the orange. If you bring it up too high, it makes the skin look kind of weird. So I'm just going to kind of take it out a little bit, make her a little bit paler, and let's go into the luminance and bring up her skin just a little. So there you go. That's a little too much. Everything else looks pretty good. So why don't we revisit the before and after here? You notice we have a very different image. We didn't really use any presets. We just kind of played around with the curves panel and the color panel, and we got ourselves a very, very nice image. And from there, you can do all sorts of other things, like there we go. Put the color back in. Okay, we've already done this stuff. So now that we've messed around with that, the global saturation, and we've already messed with. Now let's do the contrast. A little more contrast. I like a little more contrast in images like this, but the exposure's good. That looks nice. If we want to take this image to the next level, we can open it in Photoshop. So why don't we do that right now? And you notice I'm not making any local adjustments here inside of Lightroom, and that's for specific reasons, because I have a specific idea that I want to do inside of Photoshop it's a little trickier to do in Lightroom. So why don't we just do it here? Let's wait for the image to load. We have it in here. We're going to create a new layer. And we are going to select our gradient tool. And I'm going to have it be reflective. And I'm going to pick a very pale color. Yeah, something like this. And I'm going to look at the corner that it's coming from, and I'm going to kind of draw it like that. Is that what I want? No, I'm going to back it up slightly. I'm going to put it like right there. It's a little, it looks a little weird right now. Don't mind that. Let's go into the filter. Let's soften it up a little bit by hitting a blur on it. We're going to take a Gaussian blur. That's going to look more natural once we blend it properly. I set the Gaussian blur to pretty much max, actually. And now we're going to go into the blend mode. I'm going to take soft light. And I want to see hard light. Hard light's a little too much, but maybe if I bring it down in the opacity. That'll look kind of nice. Do I like it? Yeah, I kind of like it actually. It's an interesting image. It's different from the other images that we've edited from the set. If you take a look through it, it's got a different feel, and I like that about images. You can edit them in different ways and make the same photograph look like a completely different photograph and give it a different vibe, a different feel. So let's save this image. And it'll bring it back to Lightroom for us to play around with. This was the previous image we started with, and there's our final image, sort of. Okay, now I can play with the local adjustments a little bit inside of this. And I'm going to give it just a little bit of... I'm going to bring down the clarity. Just around her. So you get a softened dreamscape-like image as if she's being lit by the heavens and being blessed as a princess. I think it's a very interesting image. Okay. I think that's it for this image. If you liked this, check out my other videos. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe on YouTube. Once again, this is KNOA for KNOA Photography, and I hope this video has been educational for you. Tune in for the next one, where I will explain other things about photography editing for cosplay.